Oops. Okay, so this is the special just for my Patreon supporters now. Let's flesh this out a little bit. Let's get this, whoops, get this back to full screen. So let's flesh this out a little bit. Let's put some flesh on these bones. And we're going to use a slightly sanitized, cleaned up version of my actual figures for this, just so that to give you a general idea of what it actually costs for a one-man band business to work in London. So these are pretty close to my actual costs. So where we get premises, it costs me about £4,000 a year. That's very cheap for London. I am extremely grateful to be able to find a small workspace that is so close to my house for that kind of money. That includes heat and light and utilities and that sort of thing, so we won't actually need that. So I have no other ongoing costs, and because of a UK government directive, because the rateable value is less than £5,000 a year, I don't actually pay business rates either. So £4,000, £1,000 a quarter is what it costs me. As I say, very, very cheap for London. In terms of phone, I pay about £600 a year for my mobile phone and whatnot. General office costs about 300 quid. Again, that's sort of 25 quid a month in terms of a few reams of paper, ink cartridges for the printer, that sort of stuff. Equipment, tools and office, I put in a couple of £1,000. I spend 150 quid a month easily on tools and tool related stuff. Saw blades, consumables like saw blades are included in there. You don't have to spend much on Festool gear, for example, to rack up a couple of grand a year. So that's approximately what I spend in there. Don't know if that comes in. Email just come in. So yes, that's approximately what I cost, what I spend a year. Repairs, again, about 300 quid, 25 quid a month. There's always something that needs attention of some kind. These aren't vehicle repairs. These are just in terms of tools and equipment. Vehicle Rotax insurance and fuel is about £1,600 a year. Insurance is the big one of that. Rotax isn't that much, and I don't spend much on fuel because I only drive sort of 12 to 1,400 miles a year. It's the use of my vehicle is very, very low. Travel and parking, on the other hand, is about £2,500 a year. I've allowed for that. It depends whether I can invoice on the parking while I'm on a job, but I do have a parking permit so that I can park near where I live, which is many hundreds of pounds a year. And as I think I've mentioned in the podcasts with Andy, it's parking around here is £20 a day, 100 quid a week. You can rack that up very easily. Professional development courses and accreditation. I've got a couple of those going on this year. Not the Corian. Corian is one that sort of springs to mind, where if you don't want to do solid surface worktops, you've got to be an accredited fitter. They won't even sell it to you until you've done that. But there's a couple of courses run by Bloom for hinges and for drawers, drawer slides, that sort of thing. I really ought to go and learn how to do those properly. So I've got those in mind. Advertising and promotion, again, I don't do a great deal for that, but I allow sort of 400 quid a year just to cover things like running the website and bits of print for leaflets or cards or general redesigns, that sort of thing. Subscriptions and memberships, trade associations, don't actually have any of those, so in fact I'll take those out. I think I might have had those in the past, but don't anymore. Business insurance like public liability and tool insurance is in there. Mine's actually very cheap, surprisingly. It is about 250 quid a year for that. My professional fees, it is just accountancy. I do my own books. My accountants charge about 450 quid a year for me. Subcontract, it's around there, £200 a month, so I allow £2,400 a year. That's not exact, of course, but it is sort of roughly around about that sort of price. And pension contributions is about £300 a month at the moment. So again, we're not getting bogged down in how much tax relief you get on that or anything. It's purely the funds that are leaving my account every year. And then the drawings, the salary that you pay yourself every year before tax, I'd take £30,000 because I'm worth it. Because, you know, that's not an outrageous sum of money. And again, I don't pay tax on that. I pay tax on profits at the end of the year. So the total gross profit to break even is just under £49,000. Pretty scary figure when you add all that up. Divide that by the total number of billable days. As I say, 200 a year is you know, a good starting point, and it gives you a viable day rate. And in my case, £244. Now, I've said before that I charge £325. As I say, because I can. And that gives me a bit of flexibility, a bit of leeway, and I know that I can cover my costs, provided I invoice those kind of billables. In fact, I'll probably put my prices up a little bit more soon, just to give myself a little bit more flexibility. Because, to be perfectly honest, I'm probably not hitting, in this year, certainly now I've been doing more and more YouTube, I'm probably not hitting 200 billable days a year. So, you know, I need to keep the cash flowing, basically. I need to keep the money pumping. But that's basically all there is to it. It's a very simple spreadsheet, a list of headings on one side, and some costs in another, that are then all added together and divided by the number of billable days that you expect to do. This spreadsheet is available. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. It'll probably be in my Dropbox public folder, and I'll put a link through Patreon. But this is, of course, freely available to you guys for you to use for whatever use you choose to put to it. It'll be a comma delimited or tab delimited file, so it'll be Excel compatible, or with whatever spreadsheet you choose to use. You could, of course, also use this to work out what your hobby costs you if you're a hobby woodworker, but you might want to keep that to yourself. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found it useful. If you did, give the video a thumbs up, share it freely, and consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. I look forward to seeing you next time on the channel, and thank you so much for supporting me through Patreon. I'll see you then. Take care.